Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A spy employed to follow someone and report their movements. An indication that something has been present. Something existing in perception only. Cast a shadow over. Make appear small by comparison. An unilluminated area. A dominating and pervasive presence. He received little recognition working in the shadow of his father. An inseparable companion. The poor child was his mother's shadow. A premonition of something adverse. A shadow over his happiness. Follow, usually without the person's knowledge. The police are shadowing her. Refuge from danger or observation. He felt secure in his father's shadow. Shade within clear boundaries. A spy employed to follow someone and report their movements. A spy employed to follow someone and report their movements. The rear part of a ship. Go after with the intent to catch. Any projection that resembles the tail of an animal. The fleshy part of the human body that you sit on. The rear part of an aircraft. Remove or shorten the tail of an animal. The time of the last part of something. The tail of the storm. Remove the stalk of fruits or berries. The posterior part of the body of a vertebrate, especially when elongated and extending beyond the trunk or main part of the body. Usually plural, the reverse side of a coin that does not bear the representation of a person's head. A quality of a given color that differs slightly from another color. Fill, as with a certain quality. The heavy traffic tinctures the air with carbon monoxide. An indication that something has been present. A tincture of condescension. A substance that colors or dyes. Pharmacology, a medicine consisting of an extract in an alcohol solution. Stain or tinge with a slight amount of a color. The sky was tinctured red. To go back over again. We retraced the route we took last summer. A suggestion of some quality. A just detectable amount. He speaks French with a trace of an accent. Make a mark or lines on a surface. Trace the outline of a figure in the sand. Pursue or chase relentlessly. The hunters trace the deer into the woods. An indication that something has been present. There wasn't a trace of evidence for the claim. Follow, discover, or ascertain the course of development of something. Trace the student's progress. Read with difficulty. The archaeologist traced the hieroglyphs. A drawing created by superimposing a semi-transparent sheet of paper on the original image and copying on it the lines of the original image. A visible mark, as a footprint, left by the passage of person or animal or vehicle. Copy by following the lines of the original drawing on a transparent sheet placed upon it. Make a tracing of. Trace a design. Discover traces of. She traced the circumstances of her birth. Either of two lines that connect a horse's harness to a wagon or other vehicle or to a whiffletree. Make one's course or travel along a path. travel or pass over, around, or along. The children traced along the edge of the dark forest. An indication that something has been present. Something existing in perception only. A ghostly apparition at midnight. A ghostly appearing figure. We were unprepared for the apparition that confronted us. An act of appearing or becoming visible unexpectedly. Natives were amazed at the apparition of this white stranger. The appearance of a ghost-like figure. I was recalled to the present by the apparition of a frightening specter. Something existing in perception only. A ghostly appearing figure. Something existing in perception only. A ghostly appearing figure. Something existing in perception only. A ghostly appearing figure. Something existing in perception only. A ghostly appearing figure. Something apparently sensed but having no physical reality. Seemed to hear faint phantom bells. A quality of a given color that differs slightly from another color. After several trials, he mixed the shade of pink that she wanted. A protective ornamental covering for a lamp, used to screen a light bulb from direct view. Relative darkness caused by light rays being intercepted by an opaque body. It is much cooler in the shade. A mental representation of some haunting experience. A slight amount or degree of difference. The new model is a shade better than the old one. Represent the effect of shade or shadow on. Cast a shadow over. A subtle difference in meaning or opinion or attitude. Don't argue about shades of meaning. A position of relative inferiority. An achievement that puts everything else in the shade. A representation of the effect of shadows in a picture or drawing, as by shading or darker pigment. Pass from one quality such as color to another by a slight degree. The butterfly wings shade to yellow. Protect from light, heat, or view. Protective covering that protects something from direct sunlight. They used umbrellas as shades. Very slightly. Shade the meaning. Cast a shadow over. A person who is markedly small. A legendary creature resembling a tiny old man. Lives in the depths of the earth and guards buried treasure. Make appear small by comparison. This year's debt dwarfs that of last year. A plant or animal that is atypically small. Check the growth of. The lack of sunlight dwarfed these pines. Be greater in significance than. The tragedy overshadowed the couple's happiness. Make appear small by comparison. Cast a shadow upon. The tall tree overshadowed the house. The time after sunset and before sunrise while it is dark outside. Stemming from evil characteristics or forces, wicked or dishonorable. Darth Vader of the dark side. Absence of light or illumination. Causing dejection. The dark days of the war. Absence of moral or spiritual values. The powers of darkness. Lacking enlightenment or knowledge or culture. The Dark Ages. marked by difficulty of style or expression. Much that was dark is now quite clear to me. An unenlightened state. He was in the dark concerning their intentions, showing a brooding ill humor. A dark scowl. An unilluminated area. He moved off into the darkness. Brunette, used of hair or skin or eyes. Dark eyes. Devoid of or deficient in light or brightness, shadowed or black. Sitting in a dark corner. Not giving performances, closed. The theater is dark on Mondays. Secret. Keep it dark. Used of color, having a dark hue. Dark green. Absence of light or illumination. Absence of moral or spiritual values. The powers of darkness. An unenlightened state. His lectures dispelled the darkness. A swarthy complexion. An unilluminated area. He moved off into the darkness. Having a dark or somber color. A person who accepts the leadership of another. Someone who travels behind or pursues another. Military. A secret agent hired by a state to obtain information about its enemies or by a business to obtain industrial secrets from competitors. Catch sight of. Watch, observe, or inquire secretly. Catch sight of. To perceive with the eyes. A secret watcher. Someone who secretly watches other people. Secretly collect sensitive or classified information. Engage in espionage. Spy for the Russians. Something that serves to indicate or suggest. An indication of foul play. A datum about some physical state that is presented to a user by a meter or similar instrument. The barometer gave clear indications of an approaching storm. The act of indicating or pointing out by name. Medicine. A reason to prescribe a drug or perform a procedure. The presence of bacterial infection was an indication for the use of antibiotics. Something, as a course of action, that is indicated as expedient or necessary. There were indications that it was time to leave. Something that serves to indicate or suggest. Symptoms are the prime indicants of disease. A number or ratio, a value on a scale of measurement, derived from a series of observed facts, can reveal relative changes as a function of time. An illusory feat, considered magical by naive observers. Something many people believe that is false. They have the illusion that I am very wealthy. An erroneous mental representation. The act of deluding, deception by creating illusory ideas. An outward or token appearance or form that is deliberately misleading. He hoped his claims would have a semblance of authenticity. An erroneous mental representation. Picture consisting of a graphic image of a person or thing. Become dark or darker. The sky darkened. Make dark or darker. Darken a room. Tarnish or stain. A scandal that darkened the family's good name. Look down on. Computer science. A line of code written as part of a computer program. exercise authoritative control or power over. Look down on. An authoritative direction or instruction to do something. Great skillfulness and knowledge of some subject or activity. A good command of French. Make someone do something. A military unit or region under the control of a single officer. A position of highest authority. The corporation has just undergone a change in command. Availability for use. The materials at the command of the potters grew. Be in command of. The general commanded a huge army. Demand as one's due. This speaker commands a high fee. The power or authority to command. An admiral in command. Be greater in significance than. Look down on. The villa dominates the town. Have dominance or the power to defeat over. Be larger in number, quantity, power, status or importance. Hispanics predominate in this neighborhood. Be in control. Her husband completely dominates her. Look down on. Be oriented in a certain direction. The apartment overlooks the Hudson. Leave undone or leave out. A high place affording a good view. Look past, fail to notice. Watch over. I am overlooking her work. The context and environment in which something is set. Graphic art consisting of the graphic or photographic representation of a visual percept. He painted scenes from everyday life. A situation treated as an observable object. The religious scene in England has changed in the last century. The visual percept of a region. The painted structures of a stage set that are intended to suggest a particular locale. They worked all night painting the scenery. A display of bad temper. He made a scene. A consecutive series of pictures that constitutes a unit of action in a film. An incident, real or imaginary. Their parting was a sad scene. A subdivision of an act of a play. The first act has 3 scenes. The place where some action occurs. The police returned to the scene of the crime. The immediate proximity of someone or something. She blushed in his presence. Dignified manner or conduct. An invisible spiritual being felt to be nearby. The act of being present. The impression that something is present. He felt the presence of an evil force. The state of being present, current existence. He tested for the presence of radon. A feeling of evil to come. The lawyer had a presentiment that the judge would dismiss the case.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.